On November 30th, 2022, a small research lab released a chatbot called ChatGPT. Within just 5 days, more than 1 million people had signed up. 2 months later, it reached 100 million monthly users, making it the fastest-growing consumer application the world had ever seen. What happened next was even more remarkable. Microsoft invested billions of dollars to expand its partnership with OpenAI. Inside Google, company leaders reportedly declared a code red as they rushed to respond. Meta accelerated its AI plans. Amazon increased its investment in AI partnerships. Apple stepped up its own artificial intelligence efforts. New rivals, including xAI and Anthropic, entered an intense race to build even more powerful AI systems. Almost overnight, the entire technology industry began moving in the same direction. But here's the strange part. OpenAI wasn't the biggest technology company. It didn't own the largest cloud platform. It didn't have billions of users like Google, Apple, or Meta. By every traditional measure, it should have been the one trying to catch up. Instead, everyone else was chasing OpenAI. So how did a small research lab end up leading one of the most important business races of the modern era? Was it simply better technology, better timing, or did it make one decision that almost everyone else underestimated? The answer didn't begin with ChatGPT. It began years earlier, when artificial intelligence was still a distant idea. OpenAI was little more than an unusual experiment, and few people believed it could one day reshape business, technology, and the global economy. To understand how Sam Altman turned OpenAI into the company leading the AI race, we have to go back to the beginning. On April 22, 1985, Sam Altman was born in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, in a family that encouraged curiosity. At the age of 8, he received his first computer. While most children saw a machine for games, Sam saw something he could understand, change, and improve. He loved asking how things worked. That habit shaped every major decision he made later. As he grew older, computers became more than a hobby. They became a way to solve problems. In 2003, Sam entered Stanford University to study computer science. But after 2 years, he made a choice that surprised many people. He left before graduating to build a company called Looked. The idea was simple. It helped friends share their location through their mobile phones. Today that sounds normal, but in 2005, smartphones had not yet become mainstream, and most people were not ready for the idea. Looked never became a household name, but it taught Sam something more valuable than success. A great idea alone was not enough. Even the best product could struggle if the market wasn't ready to adopt it. After Looked was sold in 2012, Sam joined Y Combinator, a startup program that helped young companies grow. In 2014, he became its president. Over the next few years, he worked with thousands of founders. One pattern became impossible to ignore. The companies that changed industries rarely built slightly better versions of existing products. They recognized major shifts before everyone else did and built for the world that was coming, not the world that already existed. That observation would soon shape the biggest decision of his career. Around the same time, another idea began demanding his attention. Artificial intelligence, or AI, teaches computers to learn from huge amounts of information instead of following fixed instructions. Sam believed AI could become as important as electricity or the internet. Built wisely, it could help billions of people. Built poorly, the risks could be enormous. That belief led to a bold decision. In December 2015, Sam Altman joined Elon Musk and several leading researchers to launch OpenAI as a nonprofit research lab. Instead of chasing quick profits, its first goal was to make advanced AI safe and useful for everyone. It was an unusual path, and many people questioned it. Yet that choice quietly laid the foundation for everything that followed. The mission was clear. The real challenge was discovering the opportunity almost everyone else had overlooked. When OpenAI opened its doors in December 2015, it entered a race that had already begun. Google had spent years building artificial intelligence. DeepMind, which Google bought in 2014, was making major breakthroughs. Universities around the world were pushing the science forward. Microsoft, Meta, and many other companies were investing in the field. OpenAI was not leading the race. In many ways, it was already behind. The real question was no longer who was building artificial intelligence. It was who understood where it was heading before everyone else. For years, most AI systems could do only one narrow job at a time. One program could recognize faces. Another could translate languages. Another could play chess. It was like owning a toolbox filled with tools that each did only one thing. Useful, but limited. Then, in 2017, something happened that most people barely noticed. Researchers at Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need. It introduced a new way for AI to learn patterns from huge amounts of information. Instead of studying one sentence at a time, it could pay attention to many words at once, making connections much faster and more accurately. It was less like reading a book line by line and more like seeing an entire page at once. Outside the research world, almost nobody paid attention. OpenAI did. As researchers trained larger AI models with more data and more computing power, something unexpected happened. The systems did not improve little by little. They often took surprising leaps forward. Imagine teaching a child by giving them one book every year. Then imagine giving them access to an entire library. At some point, they stop simply remembering facts and begin solving problems in new ways. OpenAI believed AI could improve the same way if it had enough knowledge and computing power. Not everyone agreed. Training these models cost enormous amounts of money, and there was no guarantee they would become useful products. Many companies focused on improving existing software instead of chasing an uncertain future. Sam Altman reached a different conclusion. He believed artificial intelligence was becoming a new foundation for technology, much like the internet had become decades earlier. And if he was right, waiting for certainty could mean arriving too late. The opportunity was becoming clearer, but recognizing it was only the beginning. Now came the harder challenge: finding the money, computing power, and confidence to place a bet few believed was worth making. By 2019, OpenAI had reached a difficult point. Its newest model, called GPT-2, could write paragraphs that sounded surprisingly human. The team believed the technology could become useful in many ways, but they also worried it could spread false information or trick people online. Instead of releasing the full model immediately, OpenAI held back part of it. The decision started a global debate. Some people praised the caution. Others argued that keeping powerful research secret could slow progress. OpenAI had chosen the harder path, and the next decision would determine whether that caution became a strength or a costly mistake. 1 year later, the stakes became even higher. In 2020, OpenAI introduced GPT-3. It had learned from hundreds of billions of pieces of text collected from books, websites, and other public sources. Imagine asking a student to read an entire library before taking a test. That was the scale of what OpenAI was trying to do. The results surprised many researchers. GPT-3 could answer questions, write stories, summarize information, and even help write computer code. But every improvement came with a cost. Training an AI at this scale required enormous computing power, and the expenses were rising faster than OpenAI could manage on its own. That pressure led to one of the most important partnerships in the company's history. Microsoft had already invested $1 billion in OpenAI in 2019. The partnership gave OpenAI access to Microsoft's Azure cloud platform, a global network of powerful computers that could train much larger AI models than OpenAI could afford by itself. It was like borrowing the world's biggest workshop to build a machine that would never fit inside your own garage. The partnership gave OpenAI the resources to keep pushing forward, but it also raised expectations. The company no longer had to prove only that its technology worked. It had to prove the investment was worth it. On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI made its biggest gamble yet. Instead of keeping its latest work inside research labs, it released ChatGPT to the public. Anyone with an internet connection could try it. The response was immediate. More than 1 million people signed up within 5 days. Even technology leaders had not expected ordinary people to embrace AI so quickly. OpenAI had crossed its point of no return. It was no longer building tools for researchers alone. It had stepped into a race where every major technology company could now see exactly what was at stake. The question was no longer whether AI would reshape the industry. The new question was why OpenAI seemed to keep moving faster than everyone else. When ChatGPT launched in November 2022, many people believed OpenAI had simply built a smarter AI. But that explanation missed the real story. OpenAI's biggest advantage wasn't one breakthrough. It was a system designed to become stronger every day. The first piece was people. Millions began asking ChatGPT questions, testing ideas, writing stories, solving homework, and even finding mistakes. OpenAI studied this feedback to see where the AI helped, struggled, and gave poor answers. It was like teaching a student. The more careful feedback the student receives, the faster the student improves. Every day, millions of conversations became lessons that helped shape future versions of the model. OpenAI also used a training method called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. The name sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Human reviewers compared different answers and showed the AI which ones were more helpful, clear, and safe. Over time, the AI learned to choose better responses. Each improvement made the next improvement easier, helping ChatGPT feel more natural than many earlier AI systems. But OpenAI didn't stop there. It opened its technology to other businesses through simple online tools called APIs. Instead of building AI from scratch, companies could connect to OpenAI's models and create their own apps, much like plugging an appliance into an electrical outlet instead of building a power station. Thousands of developers did exactly that. As more businesses relied on OpenAI, the company's reach grew far beyond ChatGPT itself. Another advantage came through Microsoft. Its Azure cloud network supplied the enormous computing power needed to train and run advanced AI models for millions of users around the world. Building that kind of global system takes years and billions of dollars. Even companies that recognized the opportunity could not build that infrastructure overnight. Each improvement became easier to deliver because the pieces of the system were already working together. Millions of users, powerful computing, developer support, and rapid updates reinforced one another, making every new model more valuable than the last. By now, competitors understood they were no longer chasing a chatbot. They were chasing an entire ecosystem. And once that realization spread across the industry, the competition changed completely. Businesses quickly realized ChatGPT was far more than a chatbot. It could help write reports, solve harder problems, understand images, and assist with work that once took much longer to finish. AI was no longer just an experiment. It was becoming a practical tool for everyday work. Microsoft helped carry that tool into places OpenAI could never have reached alone. OpenAI's technology began appearing inside Bing, Windows, Microsoft 365, GitHub, and Azure. OpenAI had gained something more powerful than publicity. It had gained a path into millions of homes and workplaces. A worker could use it to prepare a report. A programmer could ask it to suggest computer code. A company could use Azure to build its own AI service without creating the costly system from the ground up. Developers also began placing OpenAI's models inside new products. Think of OpenAI as an engine maker. Other businesses could place that engine inside their own cars instead of building one themselves. Every new product expanded OpenAI's reach. Every new customer created another reason to improve the models. By ChatGPT's first anniversary, it had passed 100 million weekly users. The reaction spread across Silicon Valley. Google introduced Gemini in December 2023 and began rolling it out to consumers, developers, and business customers. Meta pushed forward with its Llama models, which other companies could adapt for their own needs. Amazon promised to invest up to $4 billion in Anthropic, the maker of Claude. Elon Musk's xAI released Grok in November 2023. Each company followed its own strategy, but all were responding to the same new reality. People now expected artificial intelligence to be useful, easy to reach, and built into everyday products. Then, on June 10, 2024, Apple announced that ChatGPT would be linked to Siri and Apple's writing tools. OpenAI's reach was expanding from websites and offices to some of the world's most widely used personal devices. A research lab had become a product company. The product had become a platform. And that platform had pulled the world's largest technology companies into a new contest. Yet while competitors were gathering outside, the event that nearly broke OpenAI was already forming within its own walls. For a moment, OpenAI looked unstoppable. ChatGPT was spreading around the world. Businesses were changing how they worked. Students, writers, programmers, and scientists were using AI every day. But just as competitors seemed to be falling behind, the biggest threat emerged from inside OpenAI itself. On November 17, 2023, OpenAI's board of directors made a shocking announcement. Sam Altman was removed as chief executive officer. The board said it had lost confidence in his leadership. No detailed explanation was given. The news spread worldwide within hours. Investors were confused. Employees were stunned. Many wondered if the company leading the AI race was about to fall apart. Then something unexpected happened. More than 700 of OpenAI's roughly 770 employees signed a letter demanding Altman's return. Many said they would leave the company if he did not come back. At the same time, Microsoft, which had invested billions of dollars in OpenAI, announced that Altman and several key leaders would join Microsoft if necessary. It was a dramatic show of support that shifted the balance of power almost overnight. Just 5 days later, on November 22nd, Sam Altman returned as CEO. A new board was formed, and OpenAI continued moving forward. The crisis had ended, but it left an even bigger question. How should a company creating such powerful technology be governed? Should it move as fast as possible, or should it slow down to reduce the risks? That debate continues today. The pressure did not stop there. OpenAI also faced copyright lawsuits from publishers and authors who argued that their work had been used to train AI models without permission. Governments around the world accelerated efforts to develop new rules for artificial intelligence. At the same time, competitors including Google with Gemini, Anthropic with Claude, xAI with Grok, and others continued releasing new models in an effort to close the gap. OpenAI had survived its biggest internal crisis, but staying in front would now require far more than great technology. It would require learning how to lead under constant pressure, where every decision would be watched by competitors, governments, businesses, and billions of people. That challenge would define the next chapter of OpenAI's story. When Sam Altman returned to OpenAI, he came back to a very different company. Just a few years earlier, it had been known mainly by researchers. Now it was one of the most watched technology companies in the world. Every product launch, interview, and decision could affect businesses, governments, and millions of people. The company was changing. It was no longer focused only on creating smarter AI models. It was becoming an organization whose technology could shape how people worked and communicated every day. New versions of ChatGPT could understand speech, images, and documents in ways that felt more natural. Instead of simply answering questions, the company began building AI systems that could help people complete tasks from start to finish. The goal was no longer just to build a tool. It was to build a digital assistant that could become part of everyday life. To support that vision, OpenAI looked beyond software. Training advanced AI models had become one of the most expensive challenges in technology. It required huge data centers filled with powerful computer chips and enormous amounts of electricity. Building the future of AI was beginning to look less like creating an app and more like building a new kind of global infrastructure. Sam Altman also spent more time meeting world leaders, business executives, and investors. Artificial intelligence had become too important to remain a discussion only inside technology companies. Countries wanted to understand how it would affect jobs, education, healthcare, national security, and economic growth. The conversation had shifted from "can AI do this?" to "how should the world use it?" At the same time, OpenAI faced a difficult balancing act. It had to move quickly enough to stay ahead of fierce competition while moving carefully enough to earn public trust. Every new model raised fresh questions about safety, fairness, privacy, and responsibility. The company could no longer think like only a research lab. It also had to think like a global institution. OpenAI had survived its biggest internal crisis, but its next challenge was even larger. Leading the AI race was no longer just about building better technology. It was about helping shape the rules of a future arriving much faster than almost anyone had expected. OpenAI's story is about more than building a popular chatbot. It is the story of how one idea changed the direction of an entire industry. Before ChatGPT, artificial intelligence was mostly a tool used by researchers and technology companies. Today, it helps people write, learn, design, code, study, and solve problems. It has become part of daily life for hundreds of millions of people. But the deeper lesson is not about artificial intelligence. It is about recognizing change before everyone else does. Sam Altman and the team at OpenAI believed powerful AI would become one of the world's most important technologies long before most businesses did. That belief led them to make difficult choices, invest enormous time and money, and keep building even when the outcome remained uncertain. Their success also changed the way companies compete. In the past, many businesses fought to sell the best product. OpenAI showed that the bigger opportunity was to build an ecosystem that companies, developers, and everyday users could all grow with. As more people joined that system, every improvement made it even stronger. The race, however, is far from over. Google continues improving Gemini. Anthropic is developing Claude. Meta is expanding Llama. xAI is pushing forward with Grok. New companies continue entering the field as governments around the world decide how artificial intelligence should be used and regulated. The company leading today may not lead tomorrow. Perhaps the most surprising part of this story is where it began. OpenAI was not created to become the biggest technology company. It started as a nonprofit research lab trying to build artificial intelligence that could benefit everyone. Whether it can continue balancing that original mission with the demands of a fast-growing global business will shape not only its own future, but also the future of AI itself. The next chapter of artificial intelligence is still being written. And if history teaches us anything, It is that the biggest breakthroughs often come from the people who recognize tomorrow while everyone else is still focused on today. The next great business story is already unfolding. Subscribe for the next story.